All right, I'm here. I have Wings of Redemption with me.
Hello.
Hey, thank you, Wings. And so here's what happened. Wings made a video, and he explained his side of it. By the way, almost all of it factually correct. Like, I'm not here to give Wings a super hard time or anything. But as I was explaining my side of it, I was making guesses or assumptions on like what was in Wings's head at the time everything went down. And I kept saying to myself, like, I wish this was a dual com. I wish this was a dual com. And I thought, like, I should call Wings. Maybe he'll do a dual com with me. And, we can put everything to bed. So that's my thought process on this. I was like, let's talk it out and finish.
Okay. Well,
So,
what spurred that video was mainly the subreddit and how you would see people constantly. Over the years, I've seen people badmouth me about the situation. I was like, it's not worth bringing up. It's not worth bringing up, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Just something clicked in me. I was like, you know what? Let's just put it out on the table.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, let's just let everybody get everything right. The only thing you said in that whole video that was factually incorrect is I never challenged OJ to a fight. I accepted his fight. that guy would rip on my wife. He said he wanted to rape my wife and daughter. He said things about Colin that are terrible, all sorts of dog-related jokes, retard stuff, whatever. And then one time he said he was going to kick my ass. And that's when I was like, oh, now I'll reply. I accept. Let's do this. I'm down. Like I excitedly accept your offer. Please, where can I get this ass kicking? He's like, you name the place. So I did, and then he backed out. And
This was like 5 years ago. Was he even legal? Like
yeah,
legal
he was
age-wise?
18 or 19. He was definitely an adult. So I checked into that. But one, he was silly dog. My dog's here. One, he was smaller than me, and two, he didn't know anything about fighting. It would have been really lopsided. But I'm not
Been an
such a big
embarrassing
man.
moment.
Not for me. I would have loved it. A lot
I'm
of
just saying
people.
for him, like for him, that would have been an embarrassing
Yeah,
moment.
a lot of people might think that I should be a bigger man and not beat up someone who threatened to beat me up, but I'm not. I'm getting off topic here. Some people think like violence is never the answer. No. If violence was never the answer, then people could just say anything they wanted. I think that violence is a great answer sometimes. And for a case like him,
It all depends on your objective. Like for
personal
example,
satisfaction.
well, I'm not this personal case objective, but like say if like a Zulu tribe is like taking over another tribe and you don't want them to do that, you're most likely not going to talk them out, especially if you can't speak their language.
I hear you.
The British. I mean, like violence is sometimes the answer, and this is coming from a liberal, Democrat, socialist, motherfucker. Violence is sometimes the answer. It's just not as much the answer as people want you to believe it is on the right.
So on the OJ thing, I didn't like that. To me, it was like just sort of a small withdrawal from the emotional bank account and a big string of them. I saw in the subreddit, I saw the same thread that you did, that a lot of people were saying that was like the real catalyst between the rift between us. And that was kind of a small thing to me. Like you donated to OJ. I always wondered until your video if that was a real donation because OJ claimed it wasn't. But,
the guy is known for lying.
he is. He really is.
I mean, like
you're like that guy's
he's
a
not
known
a fan
liar.
of me. He is not a fan of me in the slightest bit. He used to attack me when you had a smaller channel than me, a lot more. Like I used to be his, the prime course. I'm gonna wake up today. I'm gonna do a wings as a fat fuck video today, and like that's gonna be my game plan.
Total Biscuit and I used to be like, I don't know. I think he hates on me the most. And Total Biscuit would be like, no. I'm his number one, target. And I'd like post to him like check out this video. He sent me his own, or he talked about him. And that guy, I didn't.
Are you familiar with the rapper Stitches?
Only from the video you just made.
Only from the video. Well, you didn't look into it at all.
No.
Okay. I was going to say like he just recently got knocked out by the game's manager, and like he set his whole career up calling out rappers that are in a more prestigious territory or platform than he's currently at, and like calling them pussies and bitch niggas and shit like that.
So, yeah, I don't
that's
know.
OJ in a nutshell.
It's definitely what he did. I don't know if it was calculated or if he just really had a lot of hate in his heart and that's how it came out. Like, in my guess is it's the second. I don't think he was really punching up because he was hoping to become a big shot. I think he was punching up because he hated people that he was punching.
You know what the funny thing is? People punching upwards. What was that guy? I Fly Illini. He actually did
It
what
worked for
OJ
him.
wanted, but successfully.
Yeah, it worked for him until karma got him. But, or I don't know if I should phrase it that way.
I can't say that's karma. I mean, like the man was doing what he had to do to pay his bills, and like you gotta admire that in some way. Could he have gone about it a better fashion? Sure, but the way his life lined up with having a career in the military and doing the pornography thing on the side, if he was like a McDonald's worker and had pornography, it wouldn't have been an issue. It'd have been like, oh, high five.
The penalty on that did not match the crime. Hey, speaking
Correct.
of OJ, did you know OJ's the one that notified his wife?
Obviously, Jesus, we're talking about.
Yeah,
You keep saying OJ. I think OJ Simpson.
my mistake. Yeah, no, I'm talking about obviously. So his wife had a YouTube channel, and I know this because when I Fly Illini was going through dark times, I would talk to him, and his wife had a YouTube channel, and that YouTube channel, I guess, if you sent a message or an email to it, it notified her phone, and I think that's like the default setup at the time. Anyway, when I Fly Illini was recognized for being the guy in that Chatterbait video, someone immediately, obviously Jesus, posted to her channel, and then that like sent her an email, and she got it on her phone. And I'm sure she would have found out anyway, but he was the one that broke the news to her. Obviously Jesus.
I know this is off topic again, but like when you're telling me this, and I know this is new information to me. It's like, is this like, does he want to be a white knight? Like, what is his goal there at the end of the day?
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard for me to guess on obviously Jesus's motivations when he does stuff like that. What about the guys that notified his military commanders, right? Like, so it was Keemstar's friend. I forget his name. Not $2. It might have been that robot dude. I'm not sure. I don't want to get it wrong. But one of Keemstar's friends had some military background, and he was the one who like incessantly wrote his commanding officer to let him know about it, and ruined his career. And he said his motivations were how proud he is to be like in the military and of America, and that this was a shameful act that shouldn't exist in our military. And that could be true, or it could be that he just likes fucking with people. I don't know. I forget the guy's name who did it. It wasn't Keemstar. I don't mean to get that twisted. I don't know what.
Oh, I think I remember who it was. Wasn't it that really Southern dude?
I'm not sure.
forgot
I'd
his
know the
name.
name, I think, if I heard it. But anyway, yeah, that's the obviously Jesus thing. You gave him $50. I didn't like it, but I didn't dwell on it either. The Thunder thing was one of the biggest points of pain between us that I ever had. So at the time, my YouTube channel, I don't know if I'd call it on the decline, but it stopped peaking. You know, if you guys are familiar with the bell curve, you know, the top of it has this sort of like flat thing. You know, I wasn't growing at the rate I used to grow.
I don't like those terms. I call it Friends Season 7.
Okay. Yeah, that works too.
You're still popular, but not as many people tune in to watch.
That's fair. And that's where I was at the time. And Thunder Toro ran with a crowd of people that hated on me constantly. And Thunder Toro did too. People think that it started with that video of him about Colin, but the reality is he had probably sent me like 100 negative tweets before then. Like, this guy was on me all the time. If he didn't like my KD in a game, he'd give me shit about it. Like, it was incessant, constant hazing all the time. And he uploaded a video, and God, I don't even want. In it, El Presador said some pretty terrible things about my son, and I thought he crossed the line, and I made a video without even mentioning Thunder's name that like it got me in a pretty down place, and it was all true, and that then I watched these stupid YouTube cello videos, and it picked my mood up, and I made a video to that effect. Thunder came back, and he was tweeting like around the clock, and God, if you know this, Wings, a lot of people will tell you like, dude, it's just the internet, chill. But for us, it's not just the internet. Like, the internet is part of our circle of friends, and it's our professional life, and it's, if I've worked in the real world. No one sits there and like attacks you 24/7 around the clock trying to kill your career. But on YouTube, that's a thing that
Well,
happens.
they don't do it high key. They do it low key.
Yeah,
There's always those people behind the boss's back pocket every time you do something minute off the key.
true, true. But it's, like, oh, look, Jordy did it again. And that's like, it's not like a serious coordinated attack.
Well, that's
like,
because in real life there's
wouldn't pay
consequences
off.
to that action. You know,
Yeah.
violence is that consequence.
So Thunder was attacking me professionally and personally, I felt. And it wasn't like just that video. Like every day his videos for the next 2 weeks were about me. And all kinds of like I would never do that, and if like how he had higher moral standards than me was a common theme.
I hear what you're saying, but can we step out of body for a second?
Go on.
Let's put ourselves in Thunder shoes at the time, because by the way, this is going to be speculation because I don't know what goes through the man's head,
Okay.
and I haven't been really serious friends with him since 2010 or 11, because like 2 weeks after we had that conversation, he pretty much started dogging me on Twitter. This is back when I still had Twitter, and when I had Twitter back in the day, I was a fucking mental wreck. Twitter destroyed my mental health. So he pretty much isolated me 2 weeks after that conversation because he got tired of going you, and he started hounding on me how I was, fat, worthless, e-bagging, the whole nine. But take yourself out of your shoes. From what I know about Thunder Toro, he's married to a woman that kind of is overbearing.
But wait. I'd rather not dog his wife.
I'm not dogging his wife. This is nothing I've never said before, because let's put the facts out there. She did delete his channel at one point. Okay, that's factual because I helped him recreate his channel. I helped him, I gave him the first push. I don't know if that would push him anything, but I gave him the first push back on his new channel. But the reason I'm saying this, and I know you're kind of scared right now. The reason I'm
not scared. I'm just trying to be.
You're trying to be PC.
Trying to be the man I want to be. Carry on.
Yeah. I think that let's put it this way. His personal life, I think, influences his social media life. They're two different things. He tries to keep them two different things, but they kind of seep through. And when bad things are happening in his personal life, he takes them out on people that he doesn't really value as much or could care less. Like, for example, social internet people. Because
like my son.
Because to him, they're not people. I honestly, looking at everything he says and how he attacks people, because I was really good friends with Thunder, and he threw all that away. Why? Because he wanted to gain 15 more subscribers that day or whatever it might have gotten him.
I hear you. So like I from my perspective, he was attacking me professionally and personally. And I felt like our relationship was way bigger and tighter and more important than yours and Thunder's. Like I'd known you longer. We had all this time on Painkiller already. I don't know how many, we did 160 episodes or something like that together. That's a lot of time. And all the Skype calls that we've had, we played in game together. I remember when we had our biggest fight, one of the things I told you was like, fine, let Thunder fix your desk. Let Thunder fix your desk. Because we were scheduling how I was going to like receive the, what was done so far of the desk and finish it for you. And I thought that was like a pretty substantial act of friendship. And in my head, let Thunder finish your desk is trying to demonstrate like to him, like what you had with him was not, you were online friends at best, the friends that never hooked up, that never hung out, that didn't talk that much, and you were giving him advice on how to improve his channel, which he was using to destroy me. And that whole thing felt like a betrayal, but it was just one of the many. Like I never talked to you about I did talk to you about this, and I think you just said sorry, but like Holiday Doc made a video hating on me, and it was about King of the Web. I one time won King of the Web. It was $7,000, and I donated 100% of it to charity. I also made a video to promote that I was running on King of the Web, and I donated the proceeds from that to charity too. And you told him that I was making more money on that than I was giving to charity or something. And then he made a video hating on me about it. as you know, you don't know about all these two-faced liars. And one, what you said wasn't true, and two, like that wasn't a nice thing. It was a betrayal.
I can't. I don't even remember this conversation, so I can't
No?
really defend myself on it
It means a lot to me.
because, like, I might have told him because I don't remember the video or the views or anything that there's a possibility that the video promoting the King of the Web victory made more money than thing, which might be that doesn't sound good. Even though I know the contracts that we got, and I know your contract was bigger than mine, and I know what White
I
Boy
think they
had
were
on
the
his
same.
contract. I was at 250.
Me too.
Okay, so we had the same contract. Yeah. And it's like I don't remember the views on that video, so I doubt it was. What would it take to get $7,000 back in the day?
I can tell you, the views on the video was probably like 100 or 125.
Yeah, so it'd take
like
300
$300.
It'd take 3 or 4 million views back in the day to get that kind of money.
Yeah, it just wasn't true. It just wasn't true. But
he also could have took what I said out of context, because here's something that we never discussed. I've never been in a Skype call by myself with Doc Holliday. So I could have came into a call and somebody asked me about it, and I could have said it, jokingly, because I don't remember this, so I'm just speculating at this point.
I had done a lot to promote Doc Holliday. Like, I had him on my channel here and there. I played with him. I'd say nice things about him. We had him on Painkiller already. And then when he released that video, again, it was like, Jesus Christ, like he's one in a long line of people who I felt like I helped and then stabbed me in the back. And so I called him and I'm like, what is this all? Like, what is happening here? And he was like, yeah, it's true. And I'm like, it's not true. Like, where are you getting this? Wings told me. And from his standpoint, like having someone so close to me tell him that was true. And it, as you know, like we just did the math. I probably made $300 in the promo video. I think it was like two. I remember it was like 2 something that I donated. So maybe the video didn't get that many views or it got more since. But yeah, I didn't keep any of that money. And Doc Holliday says you told him that I did, and then it turned into a hate video about me, and like. All of these things.
Is that video still even up?
I have no idea. I don't know. Doc Holliday's channel I don't even think it's about gaming anymore. I'm not sure.
I haven't seen Doc Holliday since like 2012.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's up to in real life anymore. But
you
take
driving dump trucks.
You take the OJ thing, the Doc Holliday thing, the Thunder thing, and then here's why I wanted to do a dual com, because I was I did like a mono, like just me talking to the webcam before I called you. And I was like, I think what happened was it was at a time when I was like doing fine on YouTube and Wings wasn't. And that made it hard for him to be a good friend.
I wouldn't say that was the synopsis.
Okay.
I think what really was happening was I was struggling personally, financially, and like you've known me for a long time. I'm not the type of person that goes, "Hey, can you help me financially?" I don't do that at all. Mm-hmm. My problems are my problems for the most part. I mean, every now and then I'll cry about my weight or something like that, but usually all my financial problems, other than taxes, I think I've came to you about taxes before.
You've talked.
Yeah. But usually I don't try to leech off people or take advantage of having somebody above me. And what was happening, though, is my mental stability was going down. My anxiety was going way up. And I had given Twitter up at that point, and I just didn't see a future. And I was never under the impression that one individual event was the reason we kind of like parted ways. Mm-hmm. I was more along the line of it was a collective thing, because there was things I did just to try to save my own mental health. Like I was really unhappy with Painkiller already going 4 hours and things like that. And I really did. I disliked it when you always used to come in like, this is a job. You show up to your job. It's like, that's not what we created it to be.
I hear you.
But it turned into a different monster. So it's like you kind of like rode the bull.
Yeah, that like I remember the first time we went 4 hours. I think one of the first times a long time ago. But when we started going 4 hours more consistently, we just had really great fan feedback on it. They were like, "Oh my God, 4 hours! This is fantastic!" And it's like, oh, if that's what the fans want, then that's what the fans get. And
that also helped with monetary as well. Longer videos monetize better.
I think that stops at 10 minutes though.
Is that fact?
I don't know facts. That's just
I
what I
mean,
think. I don't
I'm
know.
from my experience now. Like I recently did a Fallout Let's Play, and those averaged 30 to 40 minutes. That video, those getting 6,000 views, way out monetized like a Call of Duty video getting 20.
But how long was the COD video?
5 to 10 minutes.
See, I think that, and God, don't take this as fact, but back in the day when I paid close attention to this sort of thing, you got better ads at 7 minutes, and then they got better again at 10. And then after 10, it doesn't matter. But I'm not sure.
Well, it was just a collection of things, and like,
Yeah, on the PKA thing, like a lot of times people accuse me of stealing PKA from you, and that hurts my feelings. It's like a baby.
it's not stealing, but the way I've always worded it is it was kind of a me and Kyle thing, and we had to convince you to come along, and you kind of made it better.
That okay, I might get with that. So the way that it happened was before it even started. Like that, we were all on a call, and we were having these Skype calls that were great. Right, we would just hang out on Skype. I don't want to say every night, but like a lot, like most nights. And it was like people would love these conversations. And Hutch and Scene Anders and Trump were doing, was it called Host Migration? What was their
It was host migration.
Host Migration? And you were like, we should do that too. And my first reaction was like, nah, no one would want to watch
We
us.
can't hang with the superstars.
Yeah, right? Like Hutch and Scene Anders were these, superstars, perfect word. Who would watch us? And then it was maybe like 2 or 3 days later, maybe 2, before the first episode, I was like, you know what? I do want to do this. I think it'll be cool. And I've lost a lot of capital in those 2 days when I just lacked confidence. Like I was there for show 1, like it,
Right.
you know.
And the reason I say it that way is because like those 2 days, like me and Kyle made the money and we bought we did a video. I remember the video in my head. It was a video on Invasion and Modern Warfare 2, and we asked for donations to buy the actual pod bean. And that's where we kind of ran through it. And like and that's where we kind of ran through it at. And like I pulled the train for like the first 40 episodes, and then you and Kyle kind of like ran past me with ahead of steam, and then you guys started pulling the train.
Oh, do you mean in terms of like popularity?
Right.
Oh, I thought you meant in terms of like the workload and stuff, because that's
Well,
like,
I'm not trying to sound like egotistical now, but like
no, you're
I was
right. No,
I was the pulling power for like the first 30 or 40 episodes.
yep, I'd agree with that. Yeah, and then I was, and then Kyle was. Although,
Right.
yeah. So
But like the reason, because I don't know if people out there even remember this far back. It's been years. I handpicked Kyle and Woody because I wanted to do the idea, and then I'm like, who would I do this with? And obviously, you guys were my closest like online buddies.
mhm.
But like I felt like you were really, really brought a lot to the table. Kyle was a very charismatic. He was very personable. I met Kyle through a guy named the Moody Swede.
I remember him.
He gave Kyle a shout out, and I'm like, I want to give Kyle a shout out too. You know? And like I met you through a message, like an actual
Yeah.
YouTube message.
You were
be
doing
shit-
dual comms, and I spammed you relentlessly until you
you-
gave me one.
You'd be shit out of luck to find me on a YouTube message nowadays. I don't think I've checked them in years.
Do they still have them?
Yeah, they do.
Me too.
If you send me anything on YouTube messages, it's probably in a graveyard somewhere.
I used to reply to every one of those for like 2 years.
Oh, I remember that, dude. You used to sit 2 hours of your day out after
Oh,
work
so
and do like 400 comments.
Oh, it was a lot. I'd reply to so many people, and I think that's how Mail Monday originated. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, so PK though, like after you uploaded the first audio file and maybe the second, but they started getting late really quick. Like they weren't uploaded the day after the show or the night of the show, so I took it over, and
We all agreed that you should take it over because you were the tech guy.
yeah, I was the tech guy, and then also I just was really willing to upload it like the next day and get it done.
You also had better internet.
Yep. And I think I still worked at Cisco at the time. Sometimes I uploaded from work. And then what else was I going to say? Oh, and then booking guests, like that became a thing that was kind of split in between us. And
I always would go for the higher caliber guests, and like the guests I always pulled to the show. You guys had have no clue who the fuck they were.
that happens now sometimes too. Like we got a
But
guy.
you're getting better guests than I pull now. But like I pulled some really big name guests. Like Brad Jones was a pretty big guy, and we kind of glossed over him. Sage Francis, he's a world known rapper.
Yeah, he did a really good job too.
Yeah.
He might have been on twice.
Oh, I was only on one episode. But
Oh,
like
maybe
that
it was just
episode
once.
that episode was actually really important to me because like that was one of my personal heroes in life.
I liked. Is it Big Wax? Is that his name?
Yeah,
I like that guy.
Mike Jones.
Yeah, I liked him
He's
too.
got the worst rap. He's got the worst real name for rapping.
But the notion that I stole PKA from you, like I don't know. Like I'll tell you what is true. We all agreed together to do the show without you. This is it's awkward to talk about, I guess. But you know
Well,
what?
you Lefty and Kyle agreed.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. A lot of people have this notion that it was because of this survival trip, and I don't want to put words in other people's mouths. You know, they might even have changed their mind since then. But I think for some guys that's true, but not for me. Like for me, the survival trip, like I wanted you there, but the fact that you couldn't make it, I also didn't. I thought that you being there would mean that us, like Kyle and I, would have more work to do. You know, that there'd be a certain amount of like making sure Wings is okay on the trip. That's what I thought. So when I heard you couldn't make it, I wished you were there because I thought it would make for a better show and better videos, and you're part of Painkiller already, and that's all the deal. But it wasn't like I didn't harbor the same kind of frustration that like
You know what the problem
someone
with
else
that
might
was?
have. Mm.
I let you guys know on Friday, and we were going on Sunday to Uari.
Yeah, it's pronounced like the three letters URE, but it's
URE?
spelled crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kyle had left a day early, and like you had like sent a message to Kyle, and Kyle's first response was like to sick the dogs on me.
That's not how I remember it.
That's how I remember it. 'Cause
Here's
I had
how
to
I
go through
remember it. I remember you saying that you expressed that you didn't want to go a day or two before the trip. Like that's true. And then
It's too
in
late
my
to back
memory, I persuaded you to go. I don't know if we can pull up the old Skype thing. It was so long ago, but it was like, you know, look, if you want to be exceptional, you got to do exceptional things. Remember, you were like, Woody, motivational speeches don't work on me. Do you remember that?
I do remember this. and I remember you didn't motivate me to go.
in my head, at least, I don't know what the text says, but I think Kyle would back me up on this. At the end of that conversation, you were a go, but it was like I don't want to use the word beat, but like we didn't drop it until you told us what we wanted to hear, but I think maybe in your heart you never really decided to do it again.
The first 2 weeks leading up to the survival trip were kind of lopsided because I had 2 versus 1 the entire time there. Because like I would say, look, you know, if we're going to go this far in the woods, let's bring a GPS because I don't want to get lost. You're like, no, we're manning it up, man up. You know, and then I wanted to do it in April, and you guys wanted to. No, I wanted to do it in May, and you guys wanted to do it in April, and because at the time it was a exceptionally cold spring that year.
Wait a minute. What you told us was you didn't want to die before your 28th birthday.
That's exactly what I said.
That's such a horseshoe reason.
But the reason I said that was because it was really freaking cold every day of that week, and then the forecast was like, it's gonna rain. It's like, all right, so it's gonna be like 40 degrees and raining. Man, I don't think I can build a shelter that well.
I hear you. The timing wasn't perfect. I forget why we were so determined on the timing, but sometimes
I remember you just wanted to get it going because it was like the first thing we actually agreed to do and set a date for. Like we always planned things. We never did things.
The setting the date was a big deal. Like I think we had set an earlier date where Lozon was going to make it, and then we had to change it, if I remember this right. And that happened on the second trip too. But it was
because
like we agreed to a date that we could all do, which is aligning the stars. And once we had a date, like you can't just push it a week, because you push it a week, all of a sudden Kyle's traveling to the moon or something to blow up a crater. You push it 2 weeks and Woody's going to a Minecraft convention, and you push it 3 weeks and Wings' his family events or who knows what. But so once we all found a time period that worked for us, it's not like you could just be like, you know what, let's do it 3 weeks later and expect people to be available 3 weeks later.
but to kind of like defend myself, like you said, you had planned on like trying to take care of his wings, going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was dead set on not having that happen. Like I would, I went, I was going into it like, I'm going to be fucking miserable. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be, I'm going to have headaches. I'm going to have hypoglycemic attacks, and all I have is these tablets to deal with it. And it's like, oh, this is going to be fucking miserable. But like after seeing the videos, I was like, it didn't look like a miserable time. It looked like a good time.
Until the night,
Well, it's probably not a good time for Kyle.
yeah, that's the thing. I don't the long running joke is that it was the turtle's ghost who got him and made him sick or something. It might be that he drank the water, like we've always said, and it might be, but if I were a betting man, I think he arrived sick. I think he came there and he wasn't at 100%, and by that night he was throwing up a lot. It wasn't like he just threw up once; like he threw up like, I don't want to exaggerate, 5 times an hour, something like that. Like he was in awful shape.
That's beyond sick. That's dehydrating.
Well, no, we had water. Like
No, I'm just saying, like you're throwing up 5 times.
It'll dehydrate you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't all that productive, but he was. We had to go, and then we wouldn't have done the river crossing if you were there.
Well, that's another thing I forgot completely about. I'm like, why the fuck are these fools want to cross a river?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's cold as shit.
It was dumb. It was really dumb. And I've crossed like way bigger, better, cooler rivers than that. Hell, I was doing flips into faster running rivers on the whitewater rafting trip. But something about like those rocks moved when you stepped on them. They were big, so you got big rocks like a cubic foot that moved when you stepped on them, and they were like perfectly slippery, more so than ice. And I had like a 40-pound pack on. That all combined made me 90 years old. Like I could hardly walk. I was feeble. I had a walking stick. I don't know. Kyle did it much better than me. Might have been his crazy mandals, but
it was supposed to be a survival trip, and like the idea of survival was going to be there 5 days. So there's 5 days of hunger and exhaustion and things like that, and to cross things that we didn't need to do because we had the luxury of like putting our finger on a map and like we're going to go on this week. This is the week we get lost. Like it's not like our bus fell off the side of a mountain, and it's like you guys want to go on the cold, rainy week and cross rivers, huh?
We're not the smartest survivalists. We wouldn't have crossed the river if you were there, that's for sure. Yeah.
I could have crossed a river.
I could barely cross that one. Maybe you do better. I don't know. But
I would have gotten in the water.
How
deep is it? I can swim.
It got about thigh deep. You wouldn't have had to swim, that's for sure. But you might have been like, I can imagine a scenario where you fall and then you stand up again 10, 12 feet downriver. And yeah, but anyway, for me, a lot of guys are like, "Oh, Woody kicked him off because of the OJ thing." No, for me, it was a string of things. Some of it being like you were often like the first to want to leave the show, or you'd sleep through some shows, or you'd schedule other things, so you had to miss the show. It seemed like we were working around your schedule the most, and
that was toward the end.
Yeah.
Like toward the beginning, I was the one that was always on the show. Like I never missed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true in the very beginning.
And like I said, I was getting. I don't know. I wasn't mentally healthy then. Like much better. I was much better. I'm in a much better place mentally right now. I'm in a much better place financially right now, to be honest. Even though I got shit going on right now in my life that kind of fucking sucks.
I won't say anything unless you do.
Right. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. But anyway, I was gonna put up this video, and I was like, people are gonna act like we're firing shots at each other or something, and that's not what I'm going for.
Why is that always the first place people go?
I don't know.
And to be perfectly honest, I always faulted Lefty for getting me kicked off PKA because Lefty made it the majority.
No, it was unanimous.
Right, but if Lefty was like, "Oh, I want wings on," so Wings and Lefty wants wings on.
Oh, I
It'd be
see.
2v2.
I hear you. Yeah, I think you should fault everybody. I don't want to dodge my responsibility, but yeah, I wonder how things would have changed, right? Because I didn't. PKA has done some good stuff since then, right? People really love this week's show, so I'm all chest out like a peacock right now. But like, I mean, like financially, we've got the sponsors, we've got the Patreon, we've got all that stuff. Chiz came in and he's become a really good business manager for it.
But a terrible stable boy.
People have that wrong too. Like I saw, here's the deal. Chiz was here, I don't know how long, maybe 3 months. And for the first half of it, like we worked really hard on that stable. We were out there and there were some bad weather days, as in like 100-degree melting, instantly exhausted stuff. But then towards the end, he was busy with WoodyCraft and the labor just wasn't his cup of tea. So, and he missed his dad. And that's the truth.
Well, I figured it. Let me ask you, why are you building a stable?
I'm not building a stable. So I bought a house that had a stable with tornado damage. And basically for me, it's just going to be a big shed. Like we've got a couple lawnmowers and a tractor, and I want to keep them under a roof.
I thought like, are you going to like herd cows or shit off?
No. The tractors have implements, and we're going to keep them, under a roof.
So the property you bought had a tractor that came with it? I
bought the tractor, actually. Yeah, no. But I needed a place to keep the tractor, and it's like, you're going to tear down this stable or you're going to fix it, because it's got to be watertight. And it had tornado damage. Like the tornado ripped the roof off of it, and it's like, let's get this thing sorted out. So when we bought the house, they had the place estimated. And they said the stable added $0 to the property, and I was like, yeah, like it's not junk to me because it keeps my stuff dry. So I'm making it right.
Well, we talked about all my problems. Let's talk about another problem that you have.
Oh God, now I'm scared.
Let's talk about the white boy incident.
Oh, if you like, there's a lot of white boy incidents, man. I feel like I should do this with him.
I feel. I've seen a little bit of both sides of the track.
And
like part of him wants to like you. He really does. He wants to be a friend. And like every time we get him to the point where he's like, "Come on, let's get Woody on." He something happens with pets and animals.
He keeps fucking me over, and I hate that that's the narrative now. So here's the truth. There's so many things, but the pets and animals thing. I uploaded a video of me with a bark collar on, and I put it in pets and animals. Some people might say testing out a dog bark collar is not a pets and animals video, but I thought it was close enough, and it was an advantageous category. And I didn't make the front page that often. White Boy made it all the time. He was a bigger channel. He still is. But for me to make the front page was like a big moment. He saw that I was on the front page and then recategorized his video to bump me off. And I felt like that was backstabby. Loyalty's a big thing with me.
It's a real shark move.
So the thing is, like, White Boy had been attacked by everybody on the internet. When nobody was White Boy's friend, I was. I don't know if you remember, but like Hutch would rip him on Twitter for his damn giveaways. Freddie Wong would rip him on, he made YouTube videos about, the giveaways. Freddie Wong and Fwiz and Hutch would all come on Painkiller already. And when White Boy had no friends, I was there as his friend. And then he sees me on the front page and he's like, fuck it, I'm taking this. And it wasn't about the money. Like, I'm doing fine with money. It was about the backstabbing. It was a long time ago. But wait, there's more to the story. So then after that, White Boy uploads a video, and it's called The Truth. filled with lies. Everything in it is untrue. He talks about how he didn't recategorize the video. It was always like that. But as I talked to Wipe, I'm not telling the story out of order, but everything he said about the video was a lie. And I called him on Skype. Now, before I tweeted at him or anything, what happened was I wrote to him on Skype and he didn't reply. He ignored me because he knew what it was about. It was like, dude, you miscategorized your video. You knocked me off the front page. Like, why would you do this? And he's not replying. And he saw it and he didn't reply. I know that because he told it to me. I'm not making it up. And then he said, like, you know, I was like, dude, you say that you didn't change the category of the video, but that's impossible. At the time, YouTube had this concept of accolades. And I was like number 2 in, you know, Pets and Animals, number two. I'm like, if you were in that category all along, how could I have been number 2? And he's like, oh, well, that's a lie. You know, that was never really number 2. I changed it and knocked you off the homepage. And
can I say a couple things here?
let me just wrap up my side of this. Now his video called The Truth, which really was just lies, like hating on me, was on the YouTube homepage. The Truth, like this hate Woody video on the homepage. This is like the first one of its kind, was making him a lot of money. So I asked him to take it down because it's not true. And back to the record. I hate to mention this fucking recording, but you know, basically he's like, I'll take the video down in a couple days when it's done making its money. He fucked me over by making a hate video about me on the homepage. And I told him to take it down, and Machinima told him to take it down. He gave everyone the finger and got all the money he could. But that money was based on lies about me. And I felt like that was a real dick move, especially when you remember that when everyone else was hating on him, I felt like I was his only friend. You know, I had him on my channel for PKA several times promoting and this and that. Nothing ever happened like that in reverse. I was there when everyone was hating on him. That never happened in reverse. Heck, when Thunder Toro uploaded that video of El Presador talking about Colin, White Boy still maintains, you know, I thought Thunder was right about that one. I don't even see two sides of that one.
I don't think that last one is.
That's exactly what he said.
I understand he might have said that, but I don't think he still lines up with that.
Oh, I can tell you what the truth is. I asked him to be on Painkiller already because, like I said, at this time, like my whole professional and personal world was just in great distress, right? Because I'm getting attacked from all corners, and like it's happening all over the internet to me. Like everywhere I looked, it felt like this was the topic. It was like the biggest thing on YouTube at the time. El Presador just ripping me. I'm sorry, Thunder Toro ripping me a new one, and I asked White Boy to come on Painkiller already. I picked him because Thunder Toro ripped on White Boy when those people came. Remember they robbed his house and desecrated his mother's memorial? And I knew that White Boy didn't like Thunder Toro either. And he said to me, I swear to God, this is what White Boy said. No, I'm not going to come on Painkiller already because I think Thunder will come up. And I like that he's picking on you instead of me. I don't want to get in his crosshairs. That's what he told me, right? Now he told me that. Now he says, oh, well, I thought Thunder was right in that situation about uploading a video calling my son terrible things. So that's just one. The Minecraft thing, right? Mm-hmm. So the story he tells everyone is that he had nothing to do with that Minecraft server. He was just the face of it. And he backs that up by saying that he wasn't technical. The thing is, for people who don't know, when he started the server, the first thing he did, he started advertising on WoodyCraft, trying to take my players. And then he started trying to hire away my staff. This means my lead builder. They make the maps and the buildings and stuff. Mm-hmm. And my lead developer. Thing is, I talked to them, and they said White Boy was on the calls. So I met White Boy at a Titanfall event, and I was like, dude, you're trying to steal my staff. Like, don't you think that's a little shady? You know, you're posting on my forums. Don't you think that's a little shady? And he's like, oh, I had nothing to do that. And I said, bullshit. I talked to my people. They said you were on the calls. And then in this, like he looks down and he starts like laughing, and he's like, yeah, I guess that's true. And we were if White Boy listens to this, we were together on an elevator at the Titanfall event when this conversation happened. You'll probably remember it. And so the whole White Boy narrative about him not being the one who tried to like steal my staff and whatnot, it that's not true. It really was White Boy. So, and like, there's more. So I can't even remember.
I understand
all
you're
this
listing
shit.
all these things. Let me get to my point.
Go on.
What is the statute of limitation to something like this?
See, here's the thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to answer your question. But for the longest time, it was like, the pattern is this. White boy fucks me over, I let it go. White boy fucks me over, I let it go. And that just happens at every turn. And after a while, you're like, you know what? Maybe I should just keep my distance from this guy. And that's where like, now, like, what am I going to... Like,
I was just going to make this point.
I've kind of let it go. I just need to make sure that I don't put myself in a position where white boy fucks me over again.
Let me ask you this.
Go on.
You've known me, what, 7, 8 years now?
Mm-hmm. Would
you say that this is factual, that I'm a different person today than I was when you met me?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's over an 8-year period. Would you say, this is factual, that 19-year-old Woody and 30-some-year-old Woody are two different people?
Oh, yes.
I feel, because white boy, he's done me wrong too. Like, I remember calling machinima on him one time because I had a video where I bayoneted a TV, and he put a video, a Call of Duty commentary video up. It was Modern Warfare 3. It was Dome. It was like a 3-minute video, and he put it in comedy. And he was bumping me off the front page. And like, I remember him he called me the cancer of YouTube.
I remember that.
He said I faked my suicidal.
He said you were faking it's not a direct quote, but basically that you were faking emotions in an effort to get subs. It was his accusation.
I recently started a podcast with White Boy about a year ago.
Yep.
And the person I'm doing that podcast with is not the person I met back in 2009 that did World at War videos.
But the person I'm talking about is from 2014.
Is it really that longer? It can't.
When BapCraft started?
I don't know the timeline there, because like I felt like you've done Minecraft longer than that.
Since 2013.
I want to say 2012.
13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The timeline might be there. I don't.
This is the thing that I know, right? So this was 2014 I'm talking about. When did Titanfall drop?
I don't know. I didn't play the game. I knew that shit was going to flop.
I was excited about it. I didn't know that at all. But yeah, so like, to me, it's not like, oh, he's a totally different man now. It's, oh, he's been doing this to me since 2010.
Yeah, he's made some questionable choices, but I feel like he has grown substantially as a person. Like the white boy that was in Black Ops 1, I was cordial with him. I wouldn't consider him a friend. White boy nowadays, he's a more mature, friendly person. And like I feel like there should be another chance given.
See, what's so hard for me? And by the way, what are these chances exactly? Like, your white boy doesn't need me.
I understand he doesn't need you, but like, life isn't about how big you grow or how much you build. It's about the relationships that you intertwine in between the death and life. And like, I know you don't need each other, but wouldn't life be better with each other?
It depends. Am I going to get burnt again? Like, that's the thing. I just keep trying to, like, I'll come on the podcast show. I'm trying not to put myself in a position where he can fuck me again.
Well, he gave you 4 life sentence bans.
10, I heard. 10, I heard. Yeah. 10. I've even got, like, I was thinking about my, like, he's gonna change his mind. I'm gonna come on the podcast show and I'm gonna dress like a felon. Maybe it'll be the 1920 striped shirt, the orange jumpsuit. I don't know.
I haven't talked to him since he put that tweet out there. And like, we're supposed to have like Keemstar next week or something like that. Oh, that's gonna be wonderful.
Huh.
Yeah. But you don't like that. I'm not a fan of Keemstar either. I mean, like, I was upset when people were like accusing me of hanging out with him.
Oh, when you took the picture with him?
Yeah, it's like, I can be cordial with anybody. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, hey, Keemstar. He's like, you want to take a picture? No, I'm going to spit in your face. It's like, whatever.
Yeah. See, I'd have an easier time letting Keemstar go if it wasn't for the attacks on my children.
But Keemstar's a scumbag. I'll say it to his face. He's a scumbag.
I mean, I remember, and I don't want to be the sort that attacks other people's children, but there was some drama recently where somebody said something negative about Keemstar's daughter, and then someone else chuckled at it, and Keemstar really didn't like that. Like it impacted him in a really negative way. And from my perspective, I'm like, dude, you tweeted out an embarrassing GIF of my son 19 times in a weekend. Like, I hope that having lived through his experience, he understands what mine was like.
I would disagree with you there. I don't think Keemstar will ever change his ways. He's showed the signs that he's always been the type of person that will use your back as a stepping stone.
That's funny because when I've sometimes described it as he sees the entire world as a strip mine from which to extract resources, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's that. If you know him, then that's what you know.
I mean, like I don't know him directly, but every time I've ever dealt with him it's been terrible. It's been a terrible experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that my relationship with Keemstar, I might even have the title. No, I was going to say I might have the most rocky one. And while that was probably true at one point, I feel like Basher may have taken that title from me.
Or that Red and Glory guy. You seen that shit?
No.
He recently called a guy that was streaming like RuneScape out for like being a pedophile.
Oh, I did see that.
And he got it completely wrong. I understand Keemstar has a staff now. He actually hires people to go out there and do these stories and vet them. But
I'd be surprised if that was true.
How do you let something like that slip by this completely different dude? Not caring. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Keemstar did a story on me recently. So here's the story. This is not flattering for me, but there was a guy who plays on WoodyCraft, my Minecraft server, and he was really drunk, and but he was like a super fan of mine, so he's yelling like Woody, and he drinks his own pee on stream, and I think it's hilarious. I've been to wilder parties is the line I keep using, but I don't really think it was pee. One, he drank it generously, and two, it didn't have any foam on the top, and I think it was apple juice. That's my theory. Mm-hmm. Also, there were like, he just like sort of quickly produced a cup from under the table.
What was the story?
Well, he told the story like guy drinks his own pee on the WoodyCraft server. And then he's like, and this part's not confirmed, but I think WoodyCraft offered him free in-game items to do it. And it was like, you had to add that. You had to add like the twist that makes me bad. It's not true. I didn't.
Well, he had to create a villain. The story's no fun without a villain.
And I was like, oh, well, I guess we're still doing it then. Like to me, my relationship with Keemstar wasn't better, but it was over. And I'm like, no, he still does the thing where he makes up the facts with me anyway. A lot of I read, he did a story on me not like before that, and he just read tweets and stuff. And I was like, yes, this is great. I'm getting the same treatment everyone else gets. If you just read tweets and get stuff accurate, knock yourself out. I'm totally fine with that. It's when he adds the opinions or this isn't confirmed that makes me the villain. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is not done yet. But there is afterwards, we gave him a suffix. And by the way, I came up with the idea after he did it, so it wasn't like I paid him to do it. But whenever he typed in chat for the next day or two, it said P after his name. But that's the closest thing we did to any reward. And by the way, he didn't do it for that because I thought of it afterwards. It was like, oh my God, we should do this. But anyway,
we got on the
I don't know how we got on from WoodyCraft, best Minecraft server in the multiverse. Got to pimp that. but yeah, I saw your video. What'd you say?
Before we leave Keemstar, I still want to say that I understand that I was part of this decision. I still blame him for ending my walking series.
Really?
He was the straw that broke the camel's back.
I didn't know that. How so?
I was on day 86 or 87.
Uh-huh.
I was doing really well.
Uh-huh.
And I think day 82-ish, he made a video stating that I was lying about how far I walked. And I got a lot of flack from that. Like a lot of people just, the minions come over and, call you a fat bitch and that you're a liar and you're always going to die fat and shit like that. And that really hurt. And then the next day or so, I started gaining weight. Like whatever it might be, water retention,
Daily fluctuations of some
daily
sort.
fluctuations. And that broke me mentally. And I skipped a day. And that day added to 2 days. So I went back on the third day and I couldn't do it as well as I did it before. It was like something completely changed in my cardio.
Mental, I bet.
Mental. And like it started tiring me more. So I kept going at it. So I started missing days and things like that. And it eventually just fell apart. But like, I think I in my head understand I do have a hand in this. I'm the one who decided to quit and let it get to me.
Right.
But like, I picture him as the author of the influence.
I never knew that.
And like I never gave, and like I'm really upset I failed that time. Like I can't tell you how bad I'm upset because like right now I'm like 450 pounds. I have trouble cooking eggs. It's like every day I think about, remember when I used to be able to walk 3 miles a day? Where's that Jordy at again? It's like, it sucks. We squeezed my weight in here too.
It's like PKA.
Yeah.
If we could just get some dirty videos we'll watch as a group, we'll be all set.
I get accused of bringing it up a lot, which I did, but like you and Kyle brought it up a lot too. The weight
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I never thought it was just you.
Yeah, because I get blamed like whining all the time. Because recently the last podcast show they brought it up, and it's like, oh, man, I don't want to talk about this shit. But I did get a little snippet. I got jived to agree to eat a ghost pepper if I ride 20 minutes on the bike.
Good. That'll be funny to see. That'll be good for the show.
Yeah. So what else? What was our closing arguments here? Like,
I don't know.
Did we achieve everything?
What I was looking to achieve is, hey world, I'm not mad at wings. I think we did. I think that anyone who watches this whole thing, how long is it? Oh goodness, we're almost at an hour. I think anyone who watches this whole thing is at least going to be informed. And that's all I ever want in all these damn drama situations. I saw someone left a comment on your video. It hurt my feelings. It was like, Woody's a toxic friend. He's never done anything to you. He just used you and discarded you and stuff. And I was like, that's so not fair.
I think I deleted that comment.
Oh, did you? I must have saw it before that.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's not true. Like, I remember more than once, although I can only think of one, when Wings was in a tough spot. Like, I would do the dual comm with him. Like, I would be the only guy I could think of standing next to you when the world was fussing. Oh, heck, another one is that time White Boy called you a cancer, right? And there was El Presador was saying he was going to call the law because I think you inadvertently kind of sort of threatened him. Do you remember that?
Oh, I didn't kind of sort of threaten him.
I thought you did. I thought you'd said like,
I
I'll
did
go up
threaten
there.
him.
Oh, okay. Well, I have it wrong. So you threatened El Presador as if you were going to drive up to him with a firearm. And it got, like, somehow we made it onto, I don't think Keemstar's podcast was called The Bad Kid Show at the time. It might have been. And everyone's fussing at you. White Boy's calling you a cancer, and I'm your only friend. There was other dramas I don't even want to drag up. But, everyone's fussing at you, and I'm your only friend. And I was like, man, that guy's just wrong. Like, it's not fair to say that I'd never made any deposits, it's also completely fair to say you helped me out early on, like that initial boost and, PKA and all that stuff.
I don't think I get credit for something I did. I really grew the subreddit too.
The PKA subreddit?
Yeah.
You
every
think?
time that subreddit grew substantially, it was because I did something. Because like it was at before the survival trip, it was at like 12,000. And then once I dropped out of the survival trip, it grew to like 20,000 overnight.
Yeah,
and it's been floating around there ever since.
Everybody got to talking about that. Yeah, I'm in that subreddit. I think I'm the only really active host in it. Every so often, Merca does like this. Hey, I did a new podcast. Ask me anything, like thread, where like, I guess he does what all the other celebrities do. Kind of promote a thing and stop by Reddit.
I read it every day, but
do you?
Yeah, I
I
read it
didn't
every
know
day.
that. I read it every day. I reply every day. I probably do
I just recently made another
Reddit
Reddit.
account.
Yeah.
I'll warn you, it can be a little unhealthy. It's kind of Twitterish. Not everyone on Reddit will be your friend.
Well, I know that I use
Hmm.
Reddit extensively now. Like I've been following Bernie Sanders and politics and things like that. So I got all my little tabs done.
I
It's a stop on my morning routine. Let's put it that way. It's not like it's the whole day.
Yeah, I should do less Reddit. I do too much. It's not healthy. But I'm on the PKA subreddit all the time.
Like what I do is like I do too much Facebook. Like even if I don't reply, I open like my Facebook like six different tabs
Hmm.
every time I'm bored.
Yeah, Facebook's not attractive to me. I don't know. I've never gotten addicted to that one. But
It's like watching a TV show when you don't live life.
hmm.
So yeah, I never thought you guys were upset at me. I was just tired of people making me out to be like Darth Vader because I donated money to obviously Jesus.
Yeah, I saw like the same subreddit thread we're talking about. For me, the subreddit is RPKA. Like there's tons of them, but that for me
Yeah.
is the one. And there was like this general consensus that like all the frustration was about OJ or something. And no, that was just one of the smaller pieces for me, like in my heart. So if there's one takeaway to get from this whole video, I never told OJ I was going to beat him up at PAX. He said he was going to beat me up, and I accepted. Know that.
It's like, oh, you want to beat me up? Sure.
Yeah, I accept your terms. I think that's exactly what I told him. I
And
accept your terms or something like that.
that's got to really fuck with somebody when you threatening them and they're like, oh, this is something I can get behind.
Yeah, right. Finally, we agree on something. Let's do this. And it's not anymore, but for a time, like the Call of Duty community, fight me at PAX was like a running joke, and everyone had it wrong. But um, it is what it is. So anyway, yeah, I made a something I'll never upload, and I kept like making guesses as to what was in your headspace way back when, and I was like, I should call Wings. So here we are, the Wings and Woody show. So
Yeah,
thanks for coming on.
episode 1.
Episode 1. All right.
That's pretty much what the Lefty Show and Mercus thing is.
No, Merc is deep. He never misses a week. I don't know what he is. I'll call it like episode 30 something. Like it's happening. 20 something. I don't know. But anyway, I guess I'll stop recording unless there's something else you wanted to say.
That's it.
All right. Thanks.